Well, last time I had this old girl out, which was yesterday, took my trailer up to get it inspected, lost my brakes. Didn't completely lose my brakes, I still had front brakes, but anyway, we checked the reservoir was down. So a little while ago I bought all this new hardware from Rock Auto because I figured I'd probably need it before the guts blew out of this welded up posi that's into it. So yeah, quite a job to do these rear shoes compared to like a car. The springs are quite heavy. It's a lot heavier gear. The drum is, you know, massive. Almost like 20 inches across. But best thing to do when you're doing these jobs, leave one side together. As you can see, this side's a mess because the seal was leaking and rear end grease getting over our brake shoes, so I'm gonna have to buy a set of seals for it. But it's always good to leave this old stuff in here so you got a bit of a diagram when you open up 3 spring kits and try to figure out where all the parts and pieces go and you just ripped it apart. It can get to be a little bit overwhelming. But we've got one side all together here. All new shiny stuff, new wheel cylinder. I just got to flare a new line because the line's cheesed. And then we'll be able to bleed that. The bleeder will actually turn out because it's new. We even used new bolts there. I don't know if you can see it or not. But, next step is do the other side. And then we're going to set this drum on and off probably 15 or 20 times, getting that dialed in and getting it adjusted really well. And then hopefully we'll have some good brakes. So yeah, we've got one side back together. This side, the wheel cylinder completely blew apart. And what had happened was the brakes were so out of adjustment that the cylinder just literally pushed out. So we got that fixed. We put a new cylinder actually in both sides. We got to run a new line on this side yet. And over on this side, when we opened it up, we had a real nasty seal leak. And the old stub shaft is burred up a little bit, which, you know, is kind of concerning, but for now I'm just going to slip the old $20 seal into it, pop this old one out, cross my fingers, and hope that it cures it. But if you want to definitely burn up an afternoon, this is a good way to do it. Open the back brakes up in one of these old square bodies and find yourself a whole bag of worms and mysteries. But again, the old truck's worth it. These parts I had already purchased. They were sitting in the basement now for 2 or 3 months, so it doesn't bother me too bad to throw this stuff in there. The old stuff was pretty seedy, pretty oily, and now I get a little peace of mind seeing this all apart, knowing what's in there. So if nothing else, the brakes will work a lot better than they did before. Well, we're just getting this thing back together now, day 2. Had to wait for this seal. We don't want the new brakes getting all full of fluid. The old one was a real prick to get out. So now we got that done. We gotta punch the new one in place and get this side back together. So once you lop that drum on there, you tighten this round ring here. There's no washer or nothing. And then once you get it tight, you gotta line up one of these square notches with the notch and the spline. Set your Woodruff key in there, which I already done. And then you use this little super thin locking thing to hold your Woodruff key in place. guys, this is my LQ4 6-liter swap square body, and recently it just went into this new kind of fit, so I'm going to show you what it's doing. I'm going to explain to you what the problem is. So I get the old girl, throw her neutral, key it. She's running the track. Low fuel pressure. Right now we've actually got pretty good pressure. The pump's cold, I just started it up. But what's happening, I don't like to see under 50 PSI at all in these engines. I give it a little shot. You can tell it's not happy. As soon as that drops below that 40 PSI, the computer starts freaking out, doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Usually the way I have this truck geared up, when I first put this pump in here, the pump made almost, I think, close to 80 pounds. And when you give it throttle, it will come back to like 55, 56. Right now that it's cold, it's actually showing pretty good pressure. When I drove it the other day, it was running at 49. And as soon as I give it any amount of throttle, it was falling into 40 really fast. And then look, it just dies, shuts off. Start right back up. But because of this lack of fuel, as I say, the computer's trying to do crazy things. We got a new fuel pump on the way. We'll see if it gets it fixed. I gotta drop the tank off this thing. It's not going to be fun. It was just undercoated not too long ago. That's going to be fun. We'll get it back together and get it fixed and show you the end result.